Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe, but a multiverse, where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next. Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen, episode 460. This is our review of the mid-season premiere of Supergirl, which will be episode 10 of season 3, Legion of Superheroes.
That thing they promised.
David C. Robertson. That thing they promised. I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Koss.
Hi, I interrupt people.
Yeah, you knew I was laughing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Laughing to keep from crying, buddy.
There's no tension here. We love each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
I don't secretly have a death squad outside of his house right now.
Why would you have a death squad outside of my house?
I just watched Arrow a minute ago.
Oh,
I'm just being inspired. Go ahead.
Right. Well, you wanna dive into this episode of Supergirl? Like, she's still in a coma. Brainiac 5 helping her out inside of her head, trying to get her out of her own consciousness, I guess, and into the real world.
Trying to talk her out of her
Rain
issues,
running
back
amok.
into the real things.
Yeah.
Rain mucking it up. Yeah. I had a good time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. What's his name? Jesse something.
Oh. Graf?
Maybe.
Is that right?
Maybe?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Forgot his name. But yeah, like the Brainiac 5 guy, I really liked him. Really liked him. But that makeup still looks a little silly.
It looks better. The makeup looked better than it did in the picture.
Yeah, I like that is the weirdest thing to me is like it still looks a little silly. I still kind of wish it was like more formed and less kind of like it looks patchy in a weird way. It's like it's hard to identify what's weird about this, but it's somehow off-putting. And I feel like they chose like the least flattering shot possible for that.
Maybe, yeah.
Little moment. It was confusing, but yeah, he did a great job, man. I really enjoyed him. He's very charming.
Yeah, I liked him a lot.
Like as long as he's around, I'm down.
And he said something that I don't know. I might feel like they might actually change his makeup and change his form a little bit. I get the feeling the Legion, or at least this iteration of the Legion, is going to be around in Supergirl for a minute.
I think so. I mean, I don't know how long and how in depth, but they've definitely got a lot to work with. I just also want to take the moment to point out that we brought in like a legion of heroes and we've subtracted Guardian. Just pointing out what the hell happened to Guardian. That's all.
I would say what the hell happened to James Olsen?
Just overall.
Yeah, like, is he still serving a purpose on this show? I kind of feel like, and I'm not being like, I like the actor, I like the character for that matter, but we haven't done anything with him in a long time, and I feel like this Lena James storyline is a little bit shoehorned in.
I don't know
just
if
to give
it's
James
shoehorned.
something to do. I feel like they're trying to give Lena and James something to do when they really should just probably get rid of James and tell Lena that Kara is Supergirl and be done with it.
It would be nice if it went that expediently, but they're making so much out of her name that you got to feel like they're just heading that direction. And on the way, she's going to have something with James, and that's going to end up being like a moment of huge betrayal and blah, 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 blah. Like I get where they're going, but it is a little annoying to watch. Like James is a great character, and the whole Guardian thing with James and Wynn was pretty great. I just it's a little frustrating to see that just disappear.
Yeah, it is really frustrating. But yeah, I think you're right. I think the bit in this episode where he stumbles about and then tells her Kara is sick, and she was like, "My best friend is sick. Why wouldn't you tell me that?" Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh gosh, they're gonna hold a mirror up to that when she finds that she's Supergirl.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Now
it does make for one of the most delightful exchanges in the episode where it's like, hold on. Hank had to sit there and listen to conversations about James' kissing prowess. And, specifically how hard Kara laughs at this at the end of the episode was really rewarding.
It was. And you know what? She killed it. She killed it. Like I completely believed. Yes. I completely believe she was Jean pretending to be Kara, being completely awkward.
Yep.
It was awesome.
She's done a good job with that before too.
Mm-hmm. There's something I loved about this episode that I think you probably hated, but I'm a little,
could not be more curious.
Yeah. The moment when the Legion shows up and Bon Jovi starts blasting was maybe my favorite scene of the entire series.
I mean, there was a lot to like about that moment. And of course, I don't like the Bon Jovi part because that's just not me.
Yeah.
But how did you get to that accolade?
Like, I don't know. I was just so happy. And I'm not even a Bon Jovi fan. Like, I don't consider myself at all a Bon Jovi fan. I'm just sort of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they're out there.
But, I don't know. It just makes me so happy that Mon-El is so into that. Like, I'm just like, why? Why are you so into Bon Jovi? But this is, like, the most fun I've had on the show. Is just, like, I wasn't expecting it. Like, I remember that he had mentioned it.
Yeah.
Or Saturn Girl had mentioned it. Like, oh, yeah, he got us into Bon Jovi. And then, just all of a sudden.
She even, charms him into, we've got to get back in the fight with Bon Jovi lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. And it was a cool pull through. It was a good theme thing. I get it. It's just like, it's obviously not the band I would have chosen. Not my style. But the band aside, it was a really cool moment.
It just made me laugh
it
so
was
hard.
It was a really cool moment. But it did make me cringe.
Man.
If you were thinking that I was like sitting on my couch watching this and cringing, you were correct. I heard the music and was like, damn. But that's still a cool moment. Okay.
Yeah. So I like that they're continuing on with the Stronger Together theme. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, that so much so that like, it was almost like episode 2, which was called, like, this is episode 2 of season 1, was called Stronger Together. That was almost like the real pilot because they've carried Stronger Together throughout the rest of the series.
Right.
And I like that they're using it for Rain now.
Mm-hmm. With the Preacher.
With there being more world killers and, the Preacher and, evil Mama Hologram.
Right. I kind of am, and I'm enjoying that story a little bit. Like this is a preacher who was all in on Supergirl. Whatever has been dictated, it seems like she's not part of the prophecy, and he kind of picks another direction. Like in a way, it does remind me of Smallville, though, with all the stuff on the walls in the cave. Like in a good way. That was a cool backstory. That was a cool.
Yeah.
4 seasons they dealt with that? More?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Which I liked that in Smallville. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. That was one of those neat moments where they kind of added something to the canon that you could give it or you could take it, but it was fine and it's theirs and it worked and it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Like if I were to make my own definitive version of the mythos, I don't think I would include it.
But you could, give or take. That's actually what I appreciate about it, is that it kind of works in a bubble in a weird way.
Yeah, I think if I'm remembering correctly, I think Superman Birthright did it with Mark Waid and Lionel Francis Yu, but I might be wrong. They might not have done that part, but they did incorporate a lot of the Smallville stuff into Superman's past that I really enjoyed.
Birthright's one of those I've been meaning to read, and I haven't.
Oh, it's solid.
I know.
It's solid. It's good.
I know. It's like number
and
4 on the list of things I'm meaning to read.
I say that as not a fan of the artist who drew it. Like, he's good, but I don't like something about his style. And I think part of that was because he liked to do, he might not do that anymore. And I can't remember if he did it on Birthright, but for a long time he would draw, like when he was doing X-Men comics, he did this thing where like, they would just like, they didn't ink his stuff. Like he preferred for it to be like penciled and then colored over the pencils. Mm-hmm. I just hated that. It was awful. Anyway,
it amounts to something entirely different. Sure.
You know what? I like that that Alex went back and said Kara Danvers is my favorite person again.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like
that
she
apologizes for like trying to tell Kara, like, don't be Kara. I need you to be an alien right now.
Right, because Kara is Supergirl, you know? Like, without Kara, it's the same with Clark. Like, the important thing about Superman is that, you know, the Kents raised him to be the man he is. One of the reasons I've had issues with Man of Steel in the past.
That learned humanity is the only thing that keeps him from being pretty much the guy in Injustice. Mm-hmm. That's, like, my favorite part of the Superman story is just that he can learn this morality, and I love it. Like, the nature versus nurture argument is so much fun for me.
Yeah, and I mean, I like where they're going with this. Like, you know, I kind of felt like they could have just completely solved it earlier this season when she shows up at the bar and everything, but Kara Danvers is very important to Supergirl. There is no Supergirl without Kara Danvers. And that's one of the reasons I really liked that. Like, she tried to get out of, like, her little mindscape or whatever with her Supergirl powers. She tried to get through the door with all of her Supergirl powers, blasting with heat vision and grabbing with super strength. Couldn't do it. The only way she could get out was as Kara. Like, she had to, like, remember who she was.
Like, she did the internal version of a super flare even, and nothing.
Yeah, because Kara Danvers is really the person who gives Supergirl strength.
Right.
I dug all of that.
Oh, absolutely.
I really thought that was good. Like, that was well done. And I love that Brainiac tried to make himself look better in her head.
That was a lot of fun. A lot of their interaction was great. It's like, out of the 4.5 million versions of us meeting, I didn't think it'd go like this, that kind of thing. And like later when she says, like, you looked taller, and he, like, exposits it wonderfully. Like, are you suggesting that I made myself look taller so I could be more trustworthy and blah blah blah? Because that happened. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything about Ruby and Samantha? You think Ruby's going to wind up being Samantha's anchor?
I mean, probably, because that's how these things have to work. But
I stand by my belief that Ruby will be Samantha's anchor, bring her back to herself, but make her sacrifice herself for some awful thing that she set in motion, and then Ruby will wind up with Alex.
That's a good call. I'm going to offer a different version just for the hell of it. Ruby's the reason that when it comes down to it, Supergirl doesn't actually kill Rain.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not sure the two things that we just said are not, like, I'm not sure they're exclusive. Those could both happen together, I think. Yeah.
Maybe she winds up in a coma at the end, and Ruby stays with Alex because Samantha has to find herself.
Right. I've got to go deal with me for a minute. Can you parent for a bit? I'm going to take some time off. It's okay. No. I put in a vacation request. We're good.
Right. Well, I think that's all I have.
Let me see. Stroll.
Oh, you know what? I have a question for you.
Oh, shoot.
Monel says, I still care about you. There was a little friction there. You think Saturn Girl's going to die? You think Monel's going to be with Supergirl? They can't split up a marriage. Like, that seems like a pretty good marriage.
No, they seem solid. Like, and Saturn Girl is entirely charming.
Yeah, like.
Also, what did I miss? What did I miss on, like, they use extraordinary technology to fix Supergirl. But is it just, is it just Kryptonian? Because, like, Saturn Girl has this gash on her head now, and Alex has her tibia snapped. Can they not do anything for that?
I don't know. That's a good point. Dang it. Now I'm annoyed with the episode.
I'm not even that annoyed with it. I just assume I missed something about how it's like, oh no, this is a Kryptonian pod. We can fix Kryptonians with this. Nothing else.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah,
I don't know. Bottom line was, like, there is a lot of fun stuff happening in this re-premiere.
Uh-huh.
I was pretty excited watching it, man. I enjoyed the episode. It was a lot of fun if nothing else, it was, how rewarding did it feel to, like, watch Mon-El and Saturn Girl float up in front of the ship? Like,
it's pretty cool.
From a few years ago when we just, like, saw a weird L on a ring and thought, no, you know, like, we've come a long way, and I feel like we traveled and we found our reward.
Yeah, sort of. Like, I still don't like their costumes.
I really dig their costumes.
I want to see, you know, Legion of Superhero costumes that are at least indicative of how close Supergirl's costume is to her comic book counterparts. Like,
honestly, I don't.
We've done this Matrix shit before. I'm tired of it.
See,
I don't want to see any more Bryan Singer
Matrix
X-Men
shit to me. Like Matrix shit to me is like patent leather, shiny crap. This was like leather that's
fine.
Made sense on a body.
Okay, how about I don't want to see any more Bryan Singer X-Men stuff.
Okay, yep, I can deal with that.
Like
no
for a minute, every
objection.
superhero had to be like head to toe black, and I'm like, I that doesn't make them look cooler to me. I wear all black sometimes. Most of the I used to a lot, but
I mean, yeah, I have a black leather coat that I live in through the winter. I get it.
I never felt particularly cool.
It's not about image. That is how I keep my body safe.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how this works. It has a hoodie, man. I mean, we're not. This is function.
Well,
I say that as an Alabamian in the winter, where we're like, "Oh my God, 30 degrees." I understand where we are.
Yeah, I'm just talking about superheroes, man. I don't need my superheroes to look like we look when we're cold.
Yeah.
That's all. That's.
Oh, by the way, Kryptonite's still around.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There was like a small portion of it, and I guess we're going to use it. And apparently, if you stab Rain in the neck with it, it's a real problem. But like in the way that a hangover is a problem. Like she got better after a while. She was fine.
That was weird.
It was weird, but it made sense. I mean, it's not going to kill him. I mean, you have to put it like directly in an aorta for it to kill him. You just she's going to recover.
Yeah, I by and large stand by because I would the Superman the animated series version of that where Batman holds up a tiny sliver and goes, and Superman almost falls over and he goes, "Does it take much? Does it?" But I've seen a lot of iterations of this. I watched Lex Luthor put a whole chain with a big old rock of kryptonite around Superman's neck and kick him into some water. So.
No, I kind of enjoyed that, like, their version of jumping Rain involved a kryptonite attack that ultimately didn't work because they underestimated what she's capable of. Like, that's solid. That's building a baddie. That's good.
Yeah. I think my favorite
they actually have built a hell of a baddie this season. If I'm thinking about it now, like, we're talking about a person who beat Supergirl, I mean, just into a street. Like, redesigned that street around her freaking head. And then apparently Kryptonite, she can, like, it hurts, but she can shrug it off.
Yeah. I'm not sure shrug would be necessarily the right word, but
I'm going to go with it. It was on her shoulders, and it wasn't anymore. It's like a shrug with arms.
I hate you.
I do what I can.
What the hell was I even saying? I don't even know.
Jason, the interrupter, did my thing.
Well done, I guess. I think that's it. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's okay. It wasn't probably that important.
Yeah,
I have self-esteem issues. Alright, so we hope you enjoyed this episode of DC On Screen. You can find every episode for free at dconscreen.com. We're also on iTunes and Stitcher. And in partnership with TV Time, we tweet at DC On Screen. I personally tweet at David C. Robertson. Jason only tweets on occasion at DC On Screen. But yeah, we hope to see you back for the rest of the reviews and for our weekly news opinion show. So until then, guys, keep some DC on your screen.
All right. Hey, so before we go on to the next episode, I kind of want to tell you something. Okay, so when I watched Supergirl and Alex said she broke her tibia,
right?
And then a few minutes ago when you said that Rain broke her tibia, I had exactly the same reaction. Like, I had forgotten about the first time, and I had the same reaction both times. I thought you guys were both. I thought you guys both said she broke her titty.
Why?
I don't know, man.
Why?
I kind of wanted to say it on the show, but I kind of felt like
you beautiful fool.
Because you took me off guard with that. So I kind of wanted to say it on the show, but I wasn't sure if like I should or not.
No, that was a missed opportunity. That was like, if you can, I demand you go back and add this now.
Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, could be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Oppelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.